Pardon me for a minute, but I want to get my cape on.
Is this Russ or Wes? I don't use those things.
The props and stuff. Hope you don't mind. A lot of skeletons out there in Hamden. Lots of skeletons. I got a little speech. I hope you don't mind. To be honest with you, I had to write the words big because I don't see that good, so there's not an awful lot. I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. For the record, my full name is Wesley Richard Myers. I have known John Farley about 30 years. My relationship with Mr. Farley is that we shared adjoining cells together in the big house. And by the big house, I mean Hamden High School. You know, Hamden High School. We call the old lady Mom. And if you don't know why it's called Mom, you ain't really a member of the community. John Farley was doing hard time for impersonating a cab driver, an airport baggage handler, and a security guard at the old New Haven Coliseum. He wound up with a total of 37 years of assigned community service time. He's telling you he's retiring? They're letting him out. I hear he started his stretch starting with 3 years in a soft parochial school. A real country club of sorts, until Farley got in trouble with a penguin. Some kind of an inside joke. But anyway, I guess there must have been penguins around, and there's a story there somewhere that John doesn't want me to tell you about. But anyway, so Farley got sent to the big house on Dixwell Avenue to teach science. That's when they sentenced Farley to hard times at Hamden High. Let me tell you about those early years. Never did well with paper clips. Anybody recognize this? You gotta get out more, folks. Who is that guy? Ever wonder what John looked like in the earliest of years? Ever see the movie Up? Remember Russell the Boy Scout? John Farley. True. Ever wonder what John looked like in the earliest years? That's him. Ever wonder what he looked like in the early years? Dark-rimmed plastic glasses, crew cut, bow tie. Drew Carey? No! John Farley! Yes, he had his own show for a long time. Got away with it for a while, too. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you. And today, of course, John Farley stunt doubles for Tom Selleck. There's Tom with and without the mustache. You'll see an incredible resemblance. Have you ever seen both of them at the same time, the same place? Never. Reason for that. And today, of course, John is going to be thinking about retirement. But if you really know John, you know that John Farley is a trivia buff. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody ever talked about it. And he's very good at it, too. Very good at it. John, how many dimples on a golf ball?
336.
Correct. Hey, what? Think I'm kidding? How many stitches on an American baseball? 108. 108, we got one over there. All right, he knows this stuff. Hey, John, how many months have 28 days?
All of them.
They all do. You know, I'd have to say that I really got to know John when, close to 20 years ago, John joined my Brantford carpool. Now, we had a carpool that had started actually in 1972, but John didn't come into that until the people at the junior high school graduated up to the high school. Yeah, there were names like, you might have heard of these, Carl Voos, I think he's still out there. Yeah, Carl. Nelson Bernabucci, founder of Brantford Hall, Camille Ifkovic, and I. We meet John in the carpool lot at the corner of Forbes Place and Kimberly Avenue in East Haven. Now, when it was John's week to drive, John took Josephine's green van. But there were times when it was just John and me. And on those days, I would meet John at his place on Tyler Avenue. Starting to sound familiar? Yeah. Typically, I'd get to the Farley household about 6-ish. Josephine would leave the back door open for me. I'd enter the back porch. John's ferocious watchdog would almost wake up. Josephine would put on the kitchen light and then yell upstairs, "Wes is here!" Well, I'd hear the toilet flush. And a bit later, John would come down into the porch. Now, you got to picture this. Black pants, untucked white shirt, unbuttoned collar, necktie loose, low black shoes. You know the kind policeman wears? Yeah. Twisted belt, eyeglasses askew, baseball cap, a coffee mug in one hand, and a brown leather briefcase in the other. I was lying. In the driveway was the van. But were we going to take that? Oh no. In the garage was Josephine's vintage Mustang. Were we going to take that? Oh no. In the street was a 2-seat, bright orange, Home Depot orange, might I say, foreign subcompact. John, what was it, a Suzuki, a Mitsubishi?
It's a Subaru.
A Subaru. Subaru. Subaru backwards is you are a bus. It thought it was a bus. John was not a bus. Was not a bus. Oh no. We would be taking that. Yeah, we'd be taking that. And, excuse me here.
You got stuff, you just carry it.
Doesn't matter. I don't have anything here but pictures of you anyway, John. Just your solid there. Anyway, so the car wasn't imported, you see. It was more like deported. You could never report the car stolen because nobody would believe you. A car had no suspension, no heater, no radio, no spare, and a stick shift that almost left me childless. The car was so small, how small was it, that you could check the oil and close the trunk from the driver's seat at the same time. I noticed that every time we went by Cross High School, John would time it just so we didn't have to stop on the upgrade. I wasn't sure if we were going to be low on gas, if the fuel pump was shot, or the battery was dying because of the low RPMs. I really didn't know. But one day we did stall there on the way to school. Not a problem. We push, pump the clutch, and we continue to school. Yeah. John called this little car the Pumpkin, and I know why. If you ever rode in it, you want to smash it. Well, when the entire carpool got together, Josephine let John take the green van, but only if John first posted a security deposit. You see, John would occasionally slip into his taxi driver mode. Yeah. Ready? This is no lie. Where was it you drove that taxi?
In
New Haven. Ooh.
It was a checker.
It was a checker. I think somebody's been. It was a checker. I would have liked that checker instead of that little smash.
We could have put the pumpkin inside the checker.
You probably could. He'd get into this taxi driver mode. Baseball cap to the side. Left elbow out the window. Right arm outstretched behind the passenger. And he would spend more time talking to the person behind him than he would be spending time looking at the car in front of him. Yeah, whoever sat in the back seat, his head would spin around and around. He looked like an owl. John would disregard stop signs, stoplights, detours, sirens, flashing lights. Yeah. In true hacker style, John found routes that were longer in distance but shorter in time. That's a talent, real talent. We went through some pretty interesting neighborhoods, and some so tough that not even the police would enter. The carpool lasted for about 20 years, I guess, with never any problems until one day we took in a fellow science teacher, Steve Cadwell. Now, Steve was a womanizer. One payday, he asked us to take him in an out-of-the-way drive-through bank. He didn't even have an account there. He just wanted to hit on the teller. John left in a hurry as she undoubtedly started to take down John's, or should I say, Josephine's. And that was the end of Steve. Poor Steve. We didn't have him anymore. Now, John, as you know, has a really big heart, and he really believes in charity. And he believes in sharing. He was often seen at the high school eating and sharing food with the poorest of the poor. Finally, they told John to bring his own lunch. One of the things that we had to do was get over the Q Bridge. I don't know if you're familiar with the Q Bridge. If you're going to teach in Hamden and you're coming from Staven, you have to get over that bridge. What? Is something wrong? No. Watch yourself, John. I'm getting you. Same thing except it floods. Getting to Hamden High early allowed John and I to swim laps in the pool before school. True. Can't make this stuff up. It didn't make us any healthier, I don't think. And it certainly didn't improve our memory. You see, John would leave home in the morning with his bathing suit on under his dress pants. That makes sense. His gym bag would hold towels and toiletries, but sometimes John would forget to pack the underpants. Or he didn't leave home on purpose. Now there's a problem. Should you wear a wet bathing suit under the pants and try to explain the wet pants to inner city high school kids? Or should you go freestyling? Au natural. Josephine, I swear to you, that's how he got those bad rashes. In school, John had a reputation as Mr. Fix-It. You've heard about that. He was never without his Leatherman. Like that. Leatherman multi-tool. I'll tell you, he never was out there. John fixed microscopes, projectors, leaky faucets, desks, chairs, ditto machines, anything and everything. He fixed so much and so often that he got a threatening note from the custodial union after 2 men got laid off for lack of work. True. Wednesdays were breakfast mornings. Yeah, it was the hump day, breakfast morning. The carpool would eat at the soup shop. That was on State Street. Now, when breakfast went from 79 cents to 99 cents, John insisted we switch to the sandwich board on Whitney and Skip Street. 2 eggs, any way you want them, toast, jelly, whole fries, and coffee, 60 cents with unlimited free refills. Yeah, it was good. 99 for the coffee, you know, and then you paid a little extra, but you could drink as much coffee as you want. Now, I think the waitress, Mary, remember Mary? I think the waitress Mary still works there. When I stop there from time to time, Mary still asks about John. She wants to know if he'll ever bring back all the salt and pepper shakers, 10 sets of silverware, and the place settings for 18. Honest to goodness, I can't see my face there anymore. That's not true. That's not true. None of it's, well, there really weren't 18, more like 7. John, as you know, is really a very honest person. Sometimes honesty gets people in trouble. And, well, here are some of the honest comments John put on some of his student report cards. Your child has delusions of adequacy. Your son is depriving a village somewhere of an idiot. Your son sets lower personal standards and then consistently fails to achieve them. This child has been working with too much glue. When your daughter's IQ reaches 50, she should settle. Oh boy. It is impossible to believe the sperm that created this child beat out 1,000,000 others. Now, comments like these led a few parent-teacher administration conferences, but none like the time that John was walking a back stairwell. Well, that was John. After school.
I was told I wasn't allowed to tell this story.
And he turned up a flight of steps to find 2 of his students
Wes.
in very loving embrace on the steps. This led John eventually to meet with the young man and his father. It was the right thing to do. You know, administrators were advised, and it was very quiet. And this
Administrator?
pardon me?
It was you.
Yeah, I told you, John. CYA, get up there because this is not going to come out good. Oh man, bumping uglies in the staircase, and John's wondering, well, who the hell get me? So John's there with an administrator and parents. Boy, girl. And to John's surprise, Dad didn't only not dispute the incident, but he turns to his son, hits him in the head and says, "How many times did I tell you, next time wear a condom?" Next time? Next time? Honest to goodness, things have changed a bit there, I'll have to tell you. Another time, John met with an administrator, a student, and a parent after that student told John to go mate with himself. The student denied that he said it. Said, I didn't say that. So a meeting ensued, insisting that John had misunderstood him. Now John has that Irish gift of gab. You might have noticed. And after a few moments, John found out that Dad was a fireman, and like John, had worked security for the New Haven Coliseum. So they're commiserating about the good old days during this parent-teacher-administrator conference. And John asks, so, you ever work concerts? Sure. Yeah, was the reply. Concerts ever get rowdy, John says? Oh, you know it. John says, have you ever been told to, to go F yourself? Oh, yeah, lots of times. John says, you sure you weren't mistaken? Maybe you misunderstood what they were saying. Nope, you can't mistake that. Oh, I see where this is going. And that's when the pain and yelling started. And John had, once again, made his point in a way that is most diplomatic and worked out fine for everyone.
Father corrected you that.
Whack with it. Well, in most states you can get away with it. Another bit of trivia about John. He was one of the first cell phone users. I can attest to this. I swear. I remember him getting in the car and he had a box that looked like it looked like a surplus 50 caliber ammo can. And the phone, well, This is a real picture. You can't make, this was the real picture. There's the phone. Some of you remember that. John, you remember the phone? The box, the phone?
I still have the phone.
I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it. Now, oh, and by the way, here's John using the phone. Okay? There he is using the phone right there. That does look like it. What's younger days? Yeah, that's trick photography. Now, John says to us, I got this thing called a cell phone. I said, so? He says, I'm going to call Josephine. So he gets on the phone and he calls Josephine on this brand new cell phone. Josephine picks it up and you can hear from her end, John, stop bothering me at work. Leave me alone. I think that was probably the last time that I remember you calling her while we were commuting. And you might know that John is known far and wide. It's not just here, just not on the shoreline, just not in Connecticut, just not in the United States. Especially in religious circles. And he's known as a very, very wise person. You might have even seen bumper stickers in his honor asking the question, WWJD. How many of you have seen those? You know what it stands for? What would John do? That's what that stands for. No discussion of John's career and education would be complete without a mention of our trip to the former Soviet Union. John and I were ISIS fellows from Southern, traveling with our graduate group on an educational tour of the USSR. You don't appreciate your freedom until your airplane is met in a gray, snowy Moscow runway, and it's met by 30 Russian soldiers, all with automatic weapons, and most not old enough to shave. At one point in the trip, a few days later, a soldier approached John when we were in an airport, and in a heavy, accented English, he sternly said to John, "Pick up your bags and follow me." Seems we were only blocking the pedestrian traffic. Good thing we were all wearing dark pants. One evening after dinner in our Moscow hotel, John, Vinny, and I stepped into an elevator. We were closely followed by 3 ladies of the night. The door closed. The first approached Vinny and put her arms around him. The second snuggled next to me. The third eyeballed John. Not to insult the 3 middle-aged virgins, we explained that we were too tired, we had no money, and we were going to our rooms. Well, boom, the entertainment got off on the next floor. Vinny says, "Well, that was embarrassing." I said, "Well, it sure was." John says, "Embarrassed? Embarrassed? What are you talking about? At least you 2 guys got proposition." You remember that?
One girl actually said to me, she said, "What do you do in America?" I said, "Well, I'm a school teacher." She goes, "School teacher? Blech!"
Now, in all fairness to John did get propositioned later that week. A native Muscovite stopped John in the street, 15 degrees below zero, and proposes that he buys John shoes. True story. He offers a few thousand rubles. John says, "What will I wear? What are you, crazy? You want to buy my shoes? What am I going to wear?" The guy says, "Oh, you can have mine. You can have mine. I give you my shoes." No, I don't think that was going to work out. I didn't think it was going to work. Kiddingly, I don't know how many of you are aware of it. Well, I hope it was kiddingly. John told me once that he actually hated his first name. Yeah, kind of sad. He said it was degrading to be a John. He said there are Dear John letters and they suck. People go to the Johns. Men arrested for prostitution are called Johns. Well, John, here's some trivia about John. Thomas Crapper invented the John. Yes. An average person will visit the John 2,500 times a year. That's 6 to 8 times a day and a total of 3 years in their life. Must be pretty important. Only 7% of Afghanis have homes with flush Johns. 19%, however, have television sets. Every year there are more than 40,000 John-related injuries in the U.S. The odds are 1 in 10,000 that you will get a John-related injury this year. That's better than getting struck by lightning. November 19th is World John Day. It is. The average life expectancy of a John is 50 years. You got that beat? So far, so good. Now here's a piece even you didn't know.
But I am leaking.
Too much information. So what are you going to wear tomorrow? Depends. Did you know this? Falling off a John is the main cause of death of King George II of Great Britain. Also, the White House has 30 Johns. Alfred Hitchcock's film Psycho was the first movie to include a scene showing a John being flushed. The scene garnered complaints of indecency. The first World Summit on Johns was conducted in Singapore in 2001, and here's one of my favorites. Over $100,000 was spent to finance a study on determining whether people put their rolls on the holder with its flap in the front or behind.
As long as it's there, that's all that matters.
The results, 3 out of 4 individuals will have the flap in front. The first toilet cubicle, this is important. The first toilet cuticle in a row is the least occupied, and therefore it's the cleanest one as well. Well, that's true. You remember the story about this in Russia? When we visited the Soviet Union, we brought things like pencils, which were in short supply. But we brought calculators that were solar powered. That was like, new technology. And they were always trying to give us something, and we would take a little of this and a little of that. And John and I and some of the guys were approached by one of the principals. And John takes out a Snickers bar. And he says to the principal, "Here, I'd like to give you one of America's very, very best candies. I think you're really going to enjoy it. But it comes with good news and bad news." What is these good news, bad news? The good news is you're absolutely going to love it. The bad news is you're never going to get another. And not really understanding the nuances of American humor. Oh, thank you very much. It's very good. On a